my spirit was conscious before it came into this realm and was functioning in sonship in that domain, whatever that might have been. When I first started to connect with renewing my mind and remapping my mind and sort of dealing with the pillars of my deconstruction, God showed me that our mind is designed to operate non-linearly and multidimensionally. And I think this has been discovered scientifically recently. I saw a couple of articles that pointed to the fact that our mind is able to engage multiple dimensions and form multiple patterns of dimensional reality within our existence. So I thought, oh, that's quite interesting, because that's really what the Father showed me quite a number of years ago, and showed me that my spiritual consciousness, and when we become whole and one, is remapped over my physical consciousness to bring me back into spirit, soul, and body in wholeness, rather than being separated or, divergent in that sense. But of course, until our spirit and soul become reintegrated and reconnected in that way with the Holy Spirit, then we don't have a record of that consciousness. And most people function in the soul, so they don't ever really reconnect to it or remember it in any detail. But when I engaged it and God did the deconstruction and showed me the non-linear way of connecting that I could do, he remapped it. It was like it was superimposed over my consciousness and then began to be assimilated into one. So it's just me. So I don't really think about myself as, well, I'm a spirit, soul, body anymore. I just think, well, I'm me and I live in multiple realms, and my spirit functions this way, my soul functions that way, but it's all me. And it's a sort of symbiotic relationship between the three. So my spirit was active before I came into this realm. I have memory of my eternal connection to God. And now I have that memory in my soul, because my spirit and soul were reconnected, remapped, sort of reconfigured to be what they originally should have been. And if you did not know Jesus and you died, and your spirit went back to the Father, well, your spirit would go back to home, if you like, where it records. But the soul would have no memory of that, because the soul would have never connected to the Holy Spirit in that way, and therefore the soul and spirit, in someone who doesn't have a realization of their relationship with Jesus, their soul and spirit never connect in that way. Although I do believe the Spirit is always at work to try and bring about that connection with the Holy Spirit. And I think that's what God is working to in all of us, to bring about that re-engagement of spirit and soul in wholeness. Now, I think there are some people who are, I think, beginning to push the boundaries of that and go too far and talk about reincarnation and the soul being in multiple people. I just don't believe that. And I don't believe that's true. And I don't believe the soul pre-existed. I believe the spirit pre-existed. And when the spirit came into the body, the soul then began to exist. So I don't think the soul has an eternal memory separated from the spirit. But when the spirit and soul become one, then the soul begins to come to a realization of that eternal part of us in a wholeness. Now I don't really sort of think about it. It's just, that's who I am.